G'day. Welcome to Too Much to Think. Going to discuss again some topics that I've been over already. I'd like to touch on again that life, the comment of life is unfair, or the saying that life is unfair, which is commonly used by everyone, most people. And again, I don't agree totally with that because I think life is kind of ambivalent, whereas it's people that are unfair. You know, um, people in their sphere of influence, and um, not all people, obviously, but I'm just saying that the generic thing is that people have much more power to be unfair over you than just life per se, because often that's kind of just the way the dice rolled in life, or it's more of a level playing field than that the realm of humanity and people. Not that it should ever be, I mean, the level playing field is also not a natural thing either, because if you just look at animals, the antelope is not equal to the lion in any way. Um, there's obviously people that are better at certain things and people that are talented, and people that have abilities. But where the realm of unfairness comes in is, you know, where we see these people who are controlling our lives. And people kind of don't fully focus in on this. When you see the system as it's created, with countless thousands of people bustling and hustling to get to work, climbing over one another to get onto trains and buses, and down the escalators, up the escalators. It's mindless almost, um, in the fight to get to their job where they get the money which pays for anything that they actually need in life, like food, and your shelter. So what we have is a situation where these small group of people are basically now, in a sense, the author of life. And I wonder who else said that. Basically the Bible is meant to be the author of life. God is the author of life. And now we've got these people in control of the West that are actually the author of life, in a sense. They are telling you that you must not marry. They are encouraging and persuading the girls to not marry within their own kind. They are encouraging the people that homosexuality is being given like a shot of steroids in society. They are authoring the life situation that we live in. They are taking over the role. They are playing God, basically. And we're all just sitting there tolerating it. People who worship God and read the Bible, and that's God's word, and know it as God's word, don't really act like it very much. I mean, not really. I think there was a generation that would just, there would be a bloodbath. There would be hell to pay before any of these things even got the light of day on them. It would just be, um, obvious what would happen. And we also now in a situation where we don't have anybody, we're noticing. A lot of people are noticing. But what I suggest is, and what I would like to see going forward, is that we find ways of exacting consequences rather than just noticing. because noticing is obviously not good enough. Yeah, we notice that they have countless millions of people now on the bandwagon of knowing exactly what's going on, or very close to it, but no consequences. Nobody's even really thinking about, well, how do we extract consequences from these people and not be afraid of them in their chateaus in France and um, you know country villas or mansions or chalets high up in the Alps. Mansions to size chalets high up in the Alps, or wherever they hold up. They're not even looking at that. The most what you see is kind of the French yellow vests in the streets of Paris, which is where they absolutely geared up to really sort them out. The crowd and riot police and the rest of the world just goes, oh, the French are always protesting. So it's not really getting anywhere. And these new self um, imposed authors of life are still sitting there, not even breaking a sweat. There was that picture of Macron up in the Alps. Simultaneously, the yellow vests were gaining lots of momentum in Paris, and he was up there sipping on, you know, port or red wine or whatever it is, with a beautiful view in the background, and all smiling and laughing with a group of his friends. And this is basically what you compared with when you got this yellow vests fighting down in the streets of France and getting absolutely nowhere. They've got the mechanism, the machine is in place with some huge guards. I mean, these guys strap on all that protective riot gear. Man, I mean, they're monstrous. There's one YouTube clip where the guy was clearly like a Nigerian or Ghanaian or something. It was absolutely monstrous, and he was beating these poor little French guys with a baton. You know, just about knocking them across the sidewalk with one swipe. So you see this absolute mindless kind of tactic to if there is any pushback when they're not very good at going where the target really is, and finding a way to actually you know make it count rather than just you know stay in their little playpen where the powers that be would like to keep everyone. And the authors of life understand power dynamics very well. Power dynamics, where they can implement all these new things and build a new kind of world and be the authors of life, so does of hell, more like it, and backed up by actual laws which impose consequences on us for objecting to any of the things that they've imposed upon us, and backed up the degenerates of society with so much power, that they also like become quite intimidating entities themselves. The feminist movements, the LGBT movements. I mean, no man wants to stand up to these people because of the backlash, the viciousness, and they've got power behind them as well, from the establishment. But we understand that we are ruled now by people that don't have the same values as us, at the very least. If they do, they deliberately imposing values on us that are counter to our health and wealth as a society. But they have this ability to control all sides of life. Including words like white privilege and the soft skills and the marketing skills. Where they've actually used kind of advertising agencies like in South Africa with Del Pottinger and things like that to drive forward these ideologies. They are essentially taking the role of God. You know, not the Bible anymore. The Bible's not in control anymore through the church and through the society. These people have completely overthrown that. So, if we're going forward with any kind of honest effort to want to change things, one of the things they have to do is make sure that we have consequences for these people. That was the only way, after all, that Alexander Solzhenitsyn got to and then the prisoners of that gulags got to the authorities was by they discovered the stool pigeons among them in the prison, who were obviously rat bags and would do it for like a loaf of bread or whatever, or slightly better treatment. But when they discovered them, they absolutely slaughtered them. I mean, like 10 emaciated men holding this guy down and stabbing him to death. And it worked. It was one of the things that actually worked. Don't feel bad. I mean, the authorities are not, these people that are doing these kinds of things, they would not hesitate to do it to anybody. And they have no remorse and they have no conscience. But yeah, that's what they did in Russia. So it just proves that the only way you go forward is by actually having real world consequences. So I've spoken about this before, but it needs to be continued, this line of thinking. And hopefully it'll bear some fruit further down the line. Because it seems to me that everybody's out there is virtually getting onto the same page, starting to listen to the same messages, starting to identify the truth, and discarding of lies. But so far, no actual action is being taken. Obviously, you can't be stupid with these kinds of things and do illegal things. But there's always ways. There's always things that you can do, and it's time to start looking into these things. Anyway, I'll leave that thought with you, and it's a short message, but just to keep a bit of momentum rolling on keeping people's thoughts out there and keeping alive the ideas and spreading the messages across the world as such. And anyway, that's all for now. Ciao.